Welcome today, everybody, to our webinar organized by the project BioBase for SME on building up your bio-innovation capacity. I have here next to me Tanja Meijer from the BioBase Europe Pilot Plant, who is the coordinator of this project and will introduce the project to you in a minute. We also have two more speakers today who will tell you a bit more about the services that they can provide within this project. Tanja, I would say let's start with the introduction.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Sophie. So also welcome everybody from my side. I'm here today to present the BioBase for SME project, which is an Interreg project with a budget of 5.8 million euros and funded are 3.8 million euros. So the project runs from February 2016 until February 19. And for our services, we still have 5 months to go. So why do we do this project actually and what it is about? We want to present you very shortly in the nutshell what is the technical services we offer from the project. That's why we also invited Roel Koevoets from Revin, Bart von Saal from TCBB Resource, and also I'm going to present the BioBase Europe Pilot Plant. The project is an Interreg project for Northwest Europe. We have 9 partners, which are distributed in 7 regions. They are all targeting to support SMEs that are active in the bio-based economy. So what does this mean, a bio-based economy supporting SMEs? So we are targeting SMEs that are active working with raw materials that are of biological origin. And second, also we're working with SMEs that are active in industrial biotechnology, for example, fermentation and biocatalysis.
So do I understand well that these companies need to be located in the Northwest European area?
Yeah, Northwest Europe area. That is Ireland, UK, France, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Switzerland, and the Netherlands. Okay. So the SMEs that are going to use our services could also come from the countries itself. It doesn't have to be the Northwest Europe regions.
Okay.
So, but in each region, we have a bio-innovation agent that are our experts. So it's a regional support agent. Within the project, we have 3 different types of support. There are technical workshops, there are professional trainings, and they're always on a specific topic. Like I can give you an example, like yes. For example, technology transfer in bioeconomy, communicating sustainability, fiber-based applications.
And can anybody participate in this, or you have to apply for it?
Oh. Yeah, so the workshops and trainings, they are free, and everybody can join them.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's a group event, and you can really meet other SMEs. You can have a very good exchange with our bio-innovation agents, which are experts in their fields. You can also talk to, sometimes we invite investors or some external experts that are really focusing on the target of the workshop.
And how do I find information on this?
Yeah, so all events that we have are promoted in advance, of course. So you can find it on our project homepage, and you can also get the part in our newsletter rounds from the Bio-Innovation Agent. So sometimes it's very regional supported. So the third service we are offering are the technical services. I will come back to this in a minute, but I wanted just to inform you that also we have a project movie. So in this movie, you can find all background information in a more detailed way. I just don't show it at the moment because it takes up our time for our technical services.
Yeah, but so it gives a nice overview of the project for somebody who doesn't know the project.
It's very short, very crispy, 3 minutes. So let me come back to the technical services. So we have this implemented as innovation coupons, and the biggest coupon is worth 100,000 euros.
Okay.
That's quite a big chunk.
Yes.
Whereas 50% is funded from the Interreg project.
Yeah. So you have to pay the other 50% as a
Yeah,
co-financing.
50% is co-financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what can you get for this money?
For example, we have the technical services. We have the Biobase Europe pilot plan with scale up and proof of concept development. Then, of course, we have Rewin with the application centers. We will explain this in a minute. And also from Ireland, especially Bart will explain what the TCBB about anaerobic digestion and pyrolysis. So Rewin vouchers are actually worth 4,000 euros. But the clue is here that it's 100% funded.
Okay, so you get the service totally for free.
So totally for free, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think you should note that down. Might save you some money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But when you develop your innovation, your bio-innovation, for example, we are supporting SMEs, but also spin-outs or almost SMEs that have a promising technology or a concrete spin-out plan. You also need business support. You also need support maybe and non-technical services. Yeah. So we already in the project also present, for example, NNFCC, who can help you with the business planning, a market analysis. We also have a partner, Materia Nova, that is helping with the life cycle analysis. And there is a French partner, AC3A, that is helping with the stakeholders. So when you want to get in contact with your stakeholders and you think they have a barrier of your new bio-innovation process, they can help you with this. And of course, you also have to look outside of your own network. We have our bio-innovation agent networking partners, like Flanders Bio-Based Valley, where you're working for, CLIP 2021 in Germany, and also University of York.
Okay, but so important, if I got it right, it's only meant for small companies and medium-sized companies, not for the large companies, so, these services.
It's not targeted for large enterprises, but SME also includes larger SMEs. We use the European definition for it, so up to 250 employees, and I think it's a turnover of 50 million.
Okay, that's clear.
So you're probably wondering how you can get access to this.
I think that's the next question indeed, yeah. How do we get access to these vouchers and this money for the services that you provide?
So as I said before, we still have 5 months to go, and actually we have budget left, around 1 million euro, like over 1 million euro. And if you do the calculation, it's at least 10 SME projects we still can fund. So there's funding available.
And is it difficult to get access to these?
To this money?
Voucher? Yes.
To the budget. Well, we have an application procedure, of course. So we have to ensure a certain quality of the application. But actually, it's super easy because you're already in contact with your bio-innovation agent. So that helps you with the application. We have an application procedure, 4 to 6 pages you have to fill out, where you, of course, explain your team expertise, because we want to know you, we want to know with whom we are going to work. We want to know the business opportunity that is already in your development. We need to know something about the feasibility of the project and also the innovativeness of this project.
Okay.
But that's all covered in a 4 to 6 application paper, because we think, short and crispy, explained, brings already over the target.
And I have somebody to help me with, if I understood it well. Yeah. Okay, nice.
So that's why also the success rate is very high, because you get in contact with your regional support team beforehand. And you can also get already in contact with the service provider itself. And then you actually make your application round, write it down. And then you get already also very short feedback on your evaluation, because we set up a management board, and it doesn't matter where you hand it in, but once in a month in the beginning, we will meet remotely and we will decide on the outcome. So
yeah, that was my question indeed. How long does it take before when I apply for the money, how long does it take before it gets granted? So apparently The maximum is 1 month, if I understand it well.
Kind of a month. If there are no questions to be asked, of course.
That's quite fast.
Yeah, it's super fast. Yeah. That's. I think that makes it very SME friendly procedure. So we of course have all the contacts on the homepage and all the other information also. It's all comprehensive and understandable in the terms of reference.
Okay.
So I think from my point of view, that was in a nutshell what the project can provide. And
I just got another question here. So you mentioned that there's a high success rate with your coupon system. What do you mean by high success rate? You have a number for that, or?
Yeah, there's an internal number which is very high, but I cannot say that it's 100%. But I think we are quite successful in setting up professional the application procedures so that it can meet the criteria of the application, and then we can go with this. And also the feedback, if there are questions back to the SME, it will be done immediately. So we do the evaluation every month. So if there's still some question, then it could be also evaluated in the next month again.
Yeah. Okay. So the clue is then perhaps that you are well supported with by filling your application form. So because you get a good support there, the success rate is quite high to get through the system and get your coupon granted.
Get the coupon granted, yeah. And the coupon, as I said, is maximum 100,000 euros. So you can also apply for one coupon with one technical service provider, and you don't get to the highest amount, so you can still have some money left to maybe use a non-technical service, for example.
Yeah, so that was indeed also a question. Can you apply for more than one coupon?
Yeah, that is possible, but you cannot cross the budget of 100,000.
Okay. Yeah, so you can combine some services until you reach the 100,000 euros.
We recommend this always.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's up to you, up to the SME.
Okay. Thank you, Tanja. Okay, so next to me we have our next speaker, Roel Koevoets from Rebin. Roel, we heard already that your vouchers are paid for or funded for 100%, so we are very curious to know what these services can bring us.
Yes, thank you. Well, first I will introduce Rebin. We are the development agency of West Brabant. Besides bio-based economy, we focused on agriculture, logistics, high-tech maintenance. We also help companies that want to get located in our region for a second site or something.
Okay, but so now we also help companies from other regions.
Yes, definitely, because we want companies across the border to connect with the knowledge institutions that we have in Western Brabant. And our region, so we see our region also as a broader whole as the bio-based Delta. What we do here in this project bio-based for SME is that we offer application testing. Our support consists of 4,000 euros and is 100% covered. This means that a company, like Tanja said, can have a max of 100,000 euros. So next to this 4,000 euros, you can always have, like, when you have a successful application test, go for your LCA. But the different application centers that we have are the Natural Fiber Application Center, the Biopolymer Application Center, the Colorant Application Center, the Bio-Innovation Garden, and the BioHorizon Lignin Application Center. And I will explain a little bit further.
Yeah, please, because I'm curious to know what these can do for me.
I will start with the Natural Fiber Application Center. It's an application center which has its history in the paper development, and this is why they have a lot of expertise on natural fibers. As you see on the picture on the right, there is a big pilot plant, a pilot machine for paper. So what they can do, for example, is when you come with your crop or residual material and you say, like, okay, I'm very curious, I want to use this fiber, for example, for paper. They first try it to make it on a small scale and see, like, okay, well, this is what when you mix it into recycled paper. This is what happens when you do it in virgin paper. This is the attributes that come out of it. And when this is very interesting, they can say, okay, we can do this on this big Big pilot plant or big pilot machine.
And that is what they can do with the 4,000 euro, for instance?
Well, not the whole part, and it also depends on how much expertise they already have with this natural fiber. Because when it's something totally different, they first need to do some laboratory test maybe. So this is all something that will happen in close conversation and in discussion. Next to paper, they also have a compounder, so they can also try to do make compounds with your natural fiber and blend it with biopolymers. Everything that is related to natural fibers, they know someone in the network, or they can do it themselves. So it's for all your natural fiber questions, go to the Natural Fiber Application Center.
So once you have an idea with this, you can go to them and they will work with this idea together with you. You don't have to do some pre-testing beforehand?
Well, you can't wake up in one morning and say, like, oh, I have a great idea. I mean, you need to, like at the bio-based for SME project, we for the technical services, we need a TLL 4 until 6.
Okay.
So you need to have done already some knowledge.
Some development of your idea already.
Exactly.
Okay. Good.
So the next application center is the Biopolymer Application Center. This is the application center that is part of Avans, University of Applied Science. And what they can do is make a project with the help of the professors there, and do it also with help of students. So in this way, they can do a lot of research for you, as long as it's also very innovative, that it makes it interesting for students to work on it as well. And they have a lot of knowledge. They have a 3D printer to make, for example, an injection molding mold, and they have different extruders. They can do everything with biopolymers. So if you have any things that you need to know with your development, then get into contact with them.
And you can combine both, let's say, combine the fibers and the polymers also in their applications?
Definitely. Well, the application centers are also linked together. So it could be that some developments that you need requires the expertise of both. Then it might be the case that they need to say, like, okay, hey, the Biopolymer Application Center gets the assignment, but some things needs to be done then at the Natural Fiber Application Center. So then next there is the Colorant Application Center. They have their expertise from the textile coloring. So they have already a lot of experience with biocolorant. If you develop a biocolor and you want to test it on new applications like paper or textile or maybe polymers, or maybe you have an application and you need a natural colorant to it, then they can also help you with that.
So they can advise you on which colors there exist?
Yeah, they can advise you, they can do some tests.
So what they mainly do is application, not the development of the color itself?
No. Well, they do that as well, because it's also linked to universities. So they can they do that, but they can help you with the development.
Okay, but they mainly focus on application then, in textile or other applications?
Yes, it's broad. So then we have the Bio Innovation Garden. This is a place where there's different fields sowed with different crops that might be interesting for the bioeconomy later on. So they have crops that are not very native to our region, like yacon or miscanthus or sorghum, and they also know a lot on agriculture. So what they can do, for example, when you have a bio-based herbicide or crop protection, you can ask them, okay, can you try some on the fields, or do you know in which niche my crop protection is best suited? So this whole market knowledge they can also help you with.
Yeah.
But also when you have like a very horticultural solution with biopolymers, for example, they would also be able to test it.
Can you explain it a little bit more?
Well, when there's someone who has like a plastic that they use. Normally they use the polyethylene for some agricultural solutions, like covering it, protecting it. But now you want to do it with biopolymers. Maybe that will be a solution that they could try.
Okay, like
so just like thinking in this direction.
Yeah, okay. And they also can help with the crops themselves?
Yeah, but the Biobase for SME project is really for the technical. It's not for agricultural companies. So it could be that you are a technical processing company that uses some crops. Then it might be interesting.
Okay.
But when you have a question like this, please get in contact, because yeah, we can see what we can do.
So yeah, so it's mainly meant for industrial applications of these crops, and not the cultivating of the crop itself as such.
Yeah.
Okay, there's some more application centers I thought you had.
Yeah. Last of all is the BioResin Lignin Application Center. This is a new application center. BioResin is a joint research between TNO from the Netherlands and Vito from Belgium. And they research different horizons from biopolymers, or from agricultural waste to drop-in polymers to new polymers, to aromats. Part of them is the lignin, the treatment of lignin, and they want to open their research up for SMEs to get into to contact and develop together. So this is how the BioResin Lignin Application Center was funded. We decided we can also use 4,000 euro vouchers to work together with the Lignin Application Center. So what they can do is like purify, see like, okay, you have an application, or you develop lignin already, or you treat it already in a different way, and you can see like, okay, can we improve this? So can we scale this up? Like all this knowledge is there with the Lignin Application Center, so they can help you with the development.
So what kind of companies are you targeting with this service?
Companies that have, for example, a new process to biorefine. Companies that have a solution already where they use lignin and think like, yeah, maybe we can make it in a better way. Maybe they know they have lignin, but they don't know exactly what it looks like, and sometimes it goes very well, sometimes the quality is less, but they don't really know why. All the lignin related questions they could try to answer.
Okay, that's clear, I think. I still got a question from the audience saying that if I want to use different application centers, how does it work? Do I need to contact all of these, or I contact one person? How does it go?
You first go talk with your own bio-innovation agent, and they will probably direct you to me. And when I look at this innovation problem or hurdle, then I will see which application center is most probably suited to help you go further. And this is the first step, where the application center realizes, hey, maybe I need some more information. Maybe I need some help from another application center. That will just work fine. It's just a very straightforward way of working.
And I only need to do one application and not several applications? Just one?
You can have more. Like when you develop like a new paper and you think that, okay, this went very well, it's very promising. Fiber is cheap, it's cheaper than paper, but it doesn't degrade the quality. I want to do this on a higher scale. Then you can apply for another voucher.
Okay, and so for instance, the production of some volumes or some amounts of a certain product, you can do that as well on a bigger scale?
Yes.
Just for testing for other industry, for instance?
Yeah, so when you, for example, with the Natural Fiber Application Center, when you develop the paper on that pilot plant, then you can very much go to the bigger paper factories and say, look at this, I did this, and it worked.
Okay.
And then they will probably be able to scale up for you on a real industrial scale.
Okay, I think that's clear, Roel. Thanks a lot for the information on all these application centers, and maybe let's move on to the next speaker now.
Yeah, thank you, Sophie.
Okay, so we are ready for the next speaker. I have next to me Bart Bonsal from TCCB Resource, who will explain a little bit about the services that you will provide with the project.
Great, thanks, Sophie. TCCB Resource is an Irish research institute It's actually a collaboration of two universities, University of Galway, who has specialist expertise in microbiology, and University of Limerick, who has specialist expertise in thermochemical applications. And we work with them directly. We're a pilot plant institution that's hosted in an industrial facility. So we provide the scale-up facilities and the industrial engineering and some of the commercial supports to the type of applications that we're working on. Now, the areas that we particularly work on are anaerobic digestion and pyrolysis. And it's typically around the waste processing and the residue processing to try and get that little bit of extra value out of the biorefining process, because you know yourself, a lot of the biorefining applications produce a lot of residues. So if we can increase the value out of those residues or reduce the cost of disposal, it influences the economics very, very significantly. So those are the areas that I
can imagine that most people aim for the high value product, but forget about the waste and the mainstream.
This is what we see often. You actually have to integrate the entire production regime in order to generate an economically viable process. So we tend to focus on the residues and the value-added applications of the wastes and the residues.
Okay, so your service might be very valuable then.
Well, I think it's required. The integration of the process is required for an economically viable process. The areas that we specialize in, anaerobic digestion. Many people will be familiar with anaerobic digestion. It's a microbiological process that uses mixed cultures to process quite a wide variety of digestible waste. It generates biogas. There's a natural market outlet for biomethane. It's a direct replacement to natural gas. So we don't have to do much in the way of market development for the outputs. You have a range of different microbiological cultures. You have a range of different reactor configurations. So you can process quite a wide variety of feedstock sources. Now, the challenge in the anaerobic digestion areas is always to get the cost down. The energy outputs, they're commodity outputs, so they're relatively low value. So a lot of the work that we do is in optimization of the process and also reconfiguration of the value chains. The early structure of the industry was very heavily subsidized. It was an energy generation industry. It was very heavily subsidized. We need to migrate that now away from the subsidies to make it much more economically viable in its own right. So we work with optimizing the process parameters, optimizing the value chains. A big issue is how you deal with the digestates. Even a moderate scale digester produces large volumes of water and digestate wastes. So how you process those to extract the nutrients and dispose of the residues impacts the economics of that process quite significantly.
And these are all things you can help companies with?
Yes, we can help companies. Now, the facilities we have in TCBB range from small scale facilities at the universities right up to pilot scale facilities at TCBB. So we supply testing applications, feedstock analysis, co-digestion strategies, inhibition mitigation, a range of different services that can help to make the anaerobic digestion process more viable. And examples of the types of work that we've been doing are with meat and dairy companies to process some of their wastewaters so that the cost of wastewater disposal is much, much lower than it otherwise would have been. Same thing with meat packing or dairy processing industries, working across the value chain to develop methods by which farmers not only provide cattle or milk, but they're providing the energy supply into the processing plant from the slurries and from some of the agricultural residues. Those are the types of things that we work on. And we've a particular area of interest that's being developed up in NUI Galway to try and expand the application of anaerobic digestion beyond just energy and nutrient recovery, but into a biorefining platform, because some of the intermediate products of the anaerobic digestion process, the short chain fatty acids, are very attractive platform chemicals for biochemical or biomaterial applications. So if there are customers or clients that are interested in developing kind of waste feedstocks into much higher value added product, this is a platform that might be very interesting to them.
And is that feasible for all SMEs to go?
We typically are working at very moderate scale, as opposed to very, very large scale. That's one of the areas that we try and concentrate on, because you know yourself, the bio sector is still quite fragmented. So you're typically dealing with smaller institutions or smaller applications. So we work at very, very moderate scale here. So it's very possible to do this. Yes.
Yeah. So any small, medium-sized company with waste streams could get some advice from you on these
could get some, and we would love to enter into a coupon and a development program with them.
Okay.
So now, in addition to the anaerobic digestion technology, we also work with thermal technologies. So these are feedstocks that probably they're counterparts to AD feedstocks. They're dry, they're recalcitrant, they can't be digested. So we have thermal or pyrolysis-based facilities that can process these materials thermally. And if you heat them in the absence of oxygen, it kind of degrades the platform into a charcoal type product as well as a gas product. And the charcoal product can be used either as a fuel, or it can be used as a soil conditioner or a filtration medium. The gas can either be cracked, broken into an energy fuel, or it can be condensed into an oil. So it gives you a variety of different value applications from processing these types of materials thermally. The facilities that we have available, similarly, we have university scale, small scale facilities for the real analytical, scientific based analysis. And then we've scaled up pilot scale facilities for 50 or 100 kilograms an hour, where we can actually demonstrate applications for clients. With a big issue around thermal processing is actually the emissions testing, because you have to comply with the emissions regulation. So we work with certified companies to supply emission certification for customers.
So all these things that you mentioned there, the scale up and the emission testing, that's something you can do within the coupon system?
That's something we can do as part of the support process. Yes.
Okay. And what kind of companies are you targeting for this pyrolysis?
The types of companies we've been working with to date have been like food processing companies who have wastewater treatment sludges or sludges from their process residues, municipal wastes. Big issue is how we process municipal waste more efficiently. So wastewater treatment sludges or refuse-derived fuels from processing mixed municipal waste are all suitable for processing via pyrolysis. And it takes the energy value out, it reduces the volume quite substantially. So it takes a lot of the cost of disposal out, and it adds a lot of value into that process. As I said, we're dealing at quite moderate scale. Historically, waste processing has been done on a very, very large scale, and it's not that efficient. These types of technologies can be deployed at much more moderate scale, so in an industrial or a community application.
So that's good news for the smaller companies.
It can be. It can be very useful for the smaller companies. Absolutely. And part of the process, or part of the support services that we provide, are not only the technology development or the technology demonstration, but we're actually working quite closely with a number of local authorities to get the regulatory frameworks set up and the support framework set up that will allow deployment of these types of facilities at much more moderate scale on a wider basis, because they are environmentally friendly. They mitigate a lot of the emissions that otherwise arise from waste disposal. So we work within the regulatory framework as well to support deployments.
I think that's indeed important.
Yes.
So thank you very much for the explanation. If I would go for a coupon with your institute, how would it look like?
There's a variety of different types of applications. Probably the first thing, well, in the first instance, I would encourage you to contact us and get in touch with us so we could lay out a specific program. But you can progress from very small scale, just testing of your own material, your own waste material, up to pilot scale demonstrations. And then we would actually love to work on an EU-wide basis for commercial demonstrations. We have a couple of companies now that are working with us on the first commercial rollouts of pyrolysis technology for waste processing. So there's a range of different applications that would be suitable.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's clear. I suppose that if people are interested, they can just get in contact with you, and then you can discuss about any possible application.
Our website, www.tcbb.ie, or any of the European partners that are my previous colleagues have been speaking with.
We will show that in the end as well. So,
perfect.
Okay, thanks again, Bart, for your clear presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the next and the last speaker now. Okay, so we're back for the last presentation. I have next to me again Tanja Meijer from the Biobase Europe pilot plant, but now with a different topic. So she will explain a little bit about the facility where she works, the pilot facility in Ghent. So let's talk about this, Tanja.
Thank you, Sophie. So I'm working at the Biobase Europe pilot plant in Ghent, Belgium, which is located in the port of Ghent. And it's an open access pilot facility for the bio-based products. So it's established in 2008, and we are fully operational since 2010.
Okay.
So the idea was to set up a pilot plant, because a lot of actually bio-based innovations are stuck in the laboratory scale. And SMEs have programs to overcome the so-called valley of death when they actually want to upscale their processes to the next level. So this pilot plant is based in an industrial environment. So it's not somewhere attached to a university or somewhere in the city center, because also of safety issues, because we are working really with big equipment.
So it goes beyond university scale. So it's the next step after the laboratory or research that you do, then you come to your place.
Yeah, is the next step. But we also, starting with R&D contracts, we have a laboratory as well. But we also offer the micropilot scale up and then the pilot production scale.
Okay. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah. So what's the background? What's the business we're actually doing? So the pilot plant is a one-stop shop. So people can come to us with the different types of biomass. So then we do a pre-treatment. So we have pre-treatment equipment for the biomass. And then it goes further into different technologies like fermentation technologies, biocatalysis, green chemistry, and also gas fermentation. That's a new trend. That's a new development, and we are also going with the floor. So gas fermentation is something that we have also in place now. We have a 10-liter gas fermenter. So it's about abundant feedstock, also for the greenhouse gas reuse and reduction. It's very important. To avoid over-exploitation of the natural resources.
Okay.
And then what is all from the different technologies seen, you can always upscale them and you do your fermentation, for example. What is also very important is the downstream on the purification, before it comes actually to your refined product that you want to have.
Yeah.
So a lot of SMEs are new to this idea that when you have bigger volumes and bigger amounts, that you cannot use the laboratory purification methods you're used to have. So it has to change in this.
Okay, and you can help with this? If they struggle with this purification, then the pilot facility can help?
So for the downstream processing, we also have different equipment on board, and we also have all the engineers that are trained to work with this equipment. That's really targeting to the different technologies.
Okay, and so I can come with any biomass that I have to your facility, or are there restrictions?
We don't work with manure, but apart from this, it's actually possible. It's quite broad. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. So as I said, our core business is in process development, scale up, and custom manufacturing. And we have different bio-based processes and also the bio-based products is a very broad range of aromatics, nutritions, biosurfactants, so everything that is that the customer wants to have. We have two kind of customers.
Yes.
Because our business model is two-folded. So we have the bilateral and private projects, where we cannot speak about the client and his idea and everything due to our confidentiality policy. But also we are taking part in public projects, for example, Horizon 2020 and also Interreg, Northwest Europe. So we can show a little bit more what we offer, and it's also to get to know other participants in Europe, and then they get to know us as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like to go into a little bit more detail from the different services we offer, and also the three kind of services that we offer within the BioBase for SME project. So first of all is the process development and optimization of bio-based products and processes. So we always start with a standard operation procedure, a microorganism or an enzyme. And so we can, for example, compare different microorganisms on a laboratory scale with a shake flask. We have bioreactors of 7 liters and also 10 liters. So it's for benchmarking, marking, and also optimization of the fermentation media, for example. Some literature studies also belong to it still, okay. And all the analytics behind it.
So at what stage of my development should I be before I come to your place?
It's also the same as Roel explained. We are targeting a technology readiness level between 4 and 8.
Okay, so already some pre-development at home of your concept, and then when you have a proof of concept or some idea about this, you can come to your facility.
That would be the next step. Yeah. And most likely we will also do the process development with the customer, with the SME together before we actually go into the next step. That would be the scale up. Mm-hmm. So here we already have to have a verified standard operating procedure, and then we can go to demonstrate technologies on a more industrial scale, and to validate the data, to generate a prototype material, for example. So within the BioBase for SME project, we had 2 or 3 clients that needed to produce some sample material to attract investors, and also to convince the customer, the potential customer, of the sample material. Mm-hmm.
And so this can be done within the coupon system. So the upscaling to a larger scale, larger volume, you can do this within the system?
This could be part of the system. So an SME could apply, for example, for the full 100,000 euros. And then within this scope of amount, we could do some feasibility study, some sampling preparation of the material. Yeah. And at this point, I have to say it's also very important to have actually some kind of flexibility. So in the pilot plant, we have...
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine.
We have around 65 employees and around 40 technicians and operators, because they have to work 24/7. Because for microorganism, you cannot say, please stop Friday at 5. So we also do night shifts and weekend shifts at this scale already.
Yeah.
And the biggest one would be the custom manufacturing. If a company really, for example, want to outsource their production, or when they do some application testing, when they postpone their own investment, because at this point it's very, very costly to buy some own investments, so they can make a test batch in our facility. And we have different equipments, for example, for biocatalysis from 100 liter to 10-ton scale, and for fermentation procedures, processes between 150 and the biggest we have is a 15,000 liter bioreactor.
Okay, so, but that's maybe outside of the coupon system then.
Yeah,
these
yeah,
large volumes.
It's also when we get to know the process already, we can then work further with this. So the next step actually to really go to custom manufacturing would then be shorter. There's money to invest in the development. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about this custom manufacturer that you
about
talked about.
Genau. And of course, what we also offer, sorry, I didn't mention this, is always the purification of the product. So if you have a 4,500 liter broth, you also have to purify your product then. So of course that comes with it.
Okay.
I just want to quickly say that I have colleagues, a team involved in the BioBase for SME project. So it's not all about one person. It's always a team that has to work together. And the most important colleagues, of course, are also engineers and operators working on the shop floor with the products and innovation. And yeah, that's so far from the BioBase Europe pilot plants.
Okay, thank you very much, Tanja, for this very clear presentation. Just stay with me for some more minutes. We have had all of these presentations now about the technical services. I still have one question here from the audience, which is a bit more general. So I would like to ask you this question now as a more general question. It applies for all technical services that are provided here. And the question is, how is my IP protected if I mention my idea about valorizing specific biomass? So indeed, it's important to know you have to bring your idea, your innovative idea to the consortium to apply for a voucher, but how will this be protected?
So within the project, we all signed a confidentiality agreement. And then actually when it's get to start with the technical service provider, you have to sign an NDA. And for the application process, you just give a more general overview. But then really the technical steps and what you need to define, really you discuss this directly with the service provider. And then you will be treated as a bilateral project. So we will also
under confidentiality.
Under confidentiality, yeah. So when I said we will use the public projects to promote the services, is not meant that we give out any data. So it's still up from the company if they want to be mentioned and how much of their innovation they want to mention.
Yeah. So you will not publish about their research that they are doing.
No. We can also say it in a general way.
Yeah, and so if I understand well, so if you apply for this in this application form, it's only general information that you ask for, no secrets in there, no technical information, just more general information.
No, so it was about the team expertise. Of course, you have to introduce yourself, and then feasibility, innovativeness, and business opportunity. So you just scratch.
Okay, I think that's clear. If there would be still some issues about this, I suppose they can contact you to clarify this and make sure that nobody feels unsafe about this. That would be a pity not to use it. I have one more question.
Okay.
That is, can an SME get one coupon from one partner, a small or medium coupon from a partner, and then can get a second coupon later on a different topic, for instance, from another partner within the project?
Yeah, of course, that is possible until it reaches the threshold of 100,000 euros. And also, and maybe this is a good linkage to the takeaways I want to say, coupon services are only open until November on the 18th, 2018 this year, counting for both like technical and non-technical services.
So if I want to apply for this money, I need to be a little bit quick before November, apply before November to have access to the services.
So we have monthly evaluation, so you can count how many times
some months to go,
Exactly. And also there's a final event beginning of November. It will be in Brussels. It's a networking event. We expect 150 participants.
Okay.
There will be pitches and there will also be a matchmaking session. And for the non-technical services, if somebody would be interested, we also made a webinar, and it's available on YouTube and on the project homepage.
Very nice. So I would say thanks again to all speakers, to you and the other two speakers, for giving this nice explanation about technical services. I hope it has triggered you in looking at these services again and see if it can help your company forward in your innovations, whatever hurdle you may encounter, that it can help you to move a little bit further towards commercialization. You have all contact details here beneath, and the contact persons, as Tanya mentioned. You can also contact or have a look at the project website, where you can find the contact details of all bioinnovation agents. So you can easily find an agent in your region, which you can contact as well to get access to these services. So just go to this page or use one of these contacts you see here to get access to the services.
Yeah.
As there are no further questions, I think we can close the seminar here. Thanks again for you and for everybody participating in this webinar, and hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.